Today guys, what we're going to do is we are going to replace the main monitor out of the pods from an old CRT to a new LED flat screen. The replacement monitors were suggested to me by a subscriber of mine, Blackthorns. I want to give him a personal thank you for everything that he's done so far as suggesting monitors, and from what he suggested, looks like it's going to work great. Additionally, if any of you have ever wanted to try these and you are in the Houston area, please take a moment to check out MechCore Entertainment on Facebook. They are reopening to the public Saturday, August 8th, and their website will have registration that you can go ahead and go in, and they'll have their hours of operation on their Facebook page. All of the details are on there. If you have never played in these and you want to and you're in the area, I highly suggest you make your way down there. They are a great group of guys. Their pods are top notch and they are very knowledgeable, and they're very open to new players. Alright, here is going to be a quick overview of the tools that I used to be able to do this. We have just a marker to be able to mark your measurements, 7/16 1/4 inch Phillips, scissors and electrical tape. That's more for covering over the power button that's on the main monitor. That way it doesn't shine through. Power drill. I have one bag of 6/32 by 1/2 inch to fit into the back of the monitor, and then 3 bags of 8/32 by 3/8 inch. These are just to build the frame. A couple clamps. This is to square up my joints. I have a hacksaw with a brand new blade just in case. This is a hole saw to be able to cut the top if you want to add in a new fan up top. That one works very well. Set of drill bits. I do go up to 15/32. I do have my measuring tape. Cat loves to help. I am using this peel and coat. It's stuck very well in matte black, that way it doesn't shine anything. And then I'm using 1/16 thick, 3/4 inch, and I did get the 4-footers. And these are just aluminum angles, 90-degree angles, to be able to build the frame out of. This will build a universal mount for any LCD screen. Alright, so in order to get to the main screen, which is up here, what we're going to have to do, sometimes this top rail will have 3 bolts. Mine, I only keep 2. We only have to remove one of these, and then we'll take this back, and we'll go ahead and slide the door off the rail and let the rail dangle down there. Next, we're going to go ahead and undo any of the 1/4 inch bolts that are holding in the plasma up here, and I like to pull it out. There'll be 2 wires on the back, and I'll take it and set it on top. Then we're going to take this fascia off. Sometimes it's held in with maybe 1 or 2 little 1/4 inch screws up in the corners, sometimes 3, but they'll typically be in about these 3 locations. Then this fascia comes off. Then behind here is a plywood piece, and we'll go ahead and undo it, and it has 7/16 bolts up to 8 holding it in, and then that'll come off. Down here we have the actual optics bay, and I've had that apart before. Again, it's 1/4 inch or sometimes Phillips screws holding in the fascia, and then this will come off, and then underneath it is the plywood that'll have, again, up to 8 7/16 bolts holding it in place. The only reason we're looking to remove this is any dirt when we remove the main screen will fall down onto it. So we want to make sure that we have that so we can clean it. We're going to go ahead and remove this, and I'll show you what it looks like before and how much of a mess it is. Alright, a couple things that we're being mindful of. The monitor itself is on these wooden brackets that keep it at a 10-degree incline towards the top of the monitor. In addition, underneath, it doesn't protrude fully underneath on this side, and this side, since it's lifted up, the monitor is at an angle, but it does come down almost flush to the top of the board. So we have to be mindful when we go to build it to keep it at both the same angle and distance from here to here, because the further away it is, the more it magnifies, and the closer it is, the less of the screen is, the shorter it is. This is what the CRT looks like. This will shock the ever-living crud out of you and possibly kill you, so you have to discharge it. In addition, here's all the wires for the MFDs that just kind of lay on it. There are 4 bolts that hold it in, one here, and then on the opposite side the same. Power cables in the back. VGA runs to the PC, of course, just through the back hole. Also, up here going to the front is this white cable, this small ribbon. This is the control board that's above your head in the pod. You'll want to take that out and feed it through this hole and pull it. And then this is plugged into the main board on the CRT, so you can just unplug it. Most of the time it has this little metal wire that's holding it in place with a magnet to keep it on the board, so you'll have to undo that a little bit and pull it. Just make sure you discharge this before you go to pull it. And to discharge it, I made this cheapy little screwdriver with a wire on it so I can throw it to the ground and then pop the two pins together. There are professional tools for this. I just made this quick one. It may work for you, it may not, but I would suggest use a professional one and discharge it properly. This has just worked for me, but don't try it at home. All right, we're gonna go ahead and make 2 of these mounting brackets right now. So the measurements I'll put down below, but they will be 2 of these cut at 17 inches, 2 pieces at 4.5 inches, and 4 at 1.5 inches. And that will make 1 frame. Now that we have our pieces, we have 4 at 17 inches, we have 4 at 4.5 inches, and we have 8 at 1.5. This again will make 2 brackets. I have a file so I can take off sharp edges. Now that that's over and done with, now we get to start assembly. We need to pre-drill some holes first. So the way these go is like this, to create the box. And it really doesn't matter which side the end brackets are on, just as long as they're equal on both sides. In this case, I'm going to have the monitor bolted to here, 4 points here. The 2 ends on each go like this, but they're down. And that's the basic assembly. So go ahead and start pre-drilling. I like to start with a smaller bit. I'll start with 3/32, work my way up to 11/64 all the way. I'll probably in this case go to 7/32, just enough that the bolt head can't fit through. It might be too big. We'll go with 13/64 instead. That'll work. Now for the small ones. These will go on the end here, coming down. This way the bottom bracket that comes off of the main monitor will lift the monitor just slightly to where it gets it at the right distance. So these go here, and then the other piece plugs on underneath here, so you'll have the two drilled. It's easier to just pre-drill all these. We're going to put one dead center on this, which will line up with dead center on the main bracket for the main monitor, and then we'll put one more back on it. the next part is that the monitor actually physically mounts underneath here. Now the particular monitors that I got have mounting holes spaced 4 inches apart, dead on here. So I've got to find dead center and go 2 inches out from it and 2 inches out. That'll give me my 4 holes that I have to do to make sure that the monitor come out here. Alright, this is what you're left with. So all we're making is this box. As you can see, it's just a giant rectangle. The 4 holes here have to line up with your new monitor. Thankfully, this will be a universal kit that'll take any LCD that has rear mount capability. The big things that you want to pay attention to is try and get these 2 brackets here as close to center as possible, because that's where the existing monitor mounts will go to. The only additional drilling we have to do is to put this inside hole here into the steel bracket. This will mount this way into the pod with the monitor hanging down. And again, the main reason that we have these, you could put the bracket for the main monitor here and just attach it to it, but it's going to space it away too far that it'll magnify the image. And if you want it to be as close to stock as possible and how it was intended, you've got to add these on here. So what we're going to do now is go outside and paint it, and I'll show you the final product. Okay, we're all done. I'll show you what we're left with in just a second. This is the old CRT, and you can see just how big it is, and this is where the brackets went on the side. There are the brackets over here that I'll show you in a minute. There were 3 screws along here, and one of them that I did, I was lucky, and the screws that went here are the exact size that fit into the back of the monitor. The other one, however, had self-tapping metal screws, and I didn't want to put those in there, so that's why I bought that other bag. So this is how big the old CRT is. You can see it's discharged, hence that's hanging off. This one has its VGA attached, but this thing is easily 50-60 pounds and giant. So what it's being replaced with, look how thin and wonderful this is. Here's the front. You can see that I did put the electrical tape over the button. That way it does shine very bright blue, and if it's in the pod it will be right in your face shining blue. These are the brackets off the side of this monitor. You can see how they go right in. They are underneath into the 1.5 inch brackets, and I tried to put the center, the existing holes that are in the brackets that come off the old main CRTs, into the middle of this bracket. I got it as close as possible. You don't have to worry too much about it because we do have over 1 inch of adjustment up and down and side to side once you get it in the pod, which is also why I made the holes a little bit bigger than what I needed. That way I had plenty of adjustment room. But all said and done, you can hear it, and it's very solid. So we're going to plug it in, see what it looks like. I got enough to do 2 pods right now, and we're going to run some tests. My players do not know yet that I did this, so I'm going to try and upload this video Saturday. Today is Friday. I'm going to try and upload this on Saturday, and then maybe Saturday night we'll do a whole lot of testing and we'll see how they like it. So far though, the test that I did on the other one works great. And if these last, I'm going to buy 2 more of these. Again, these are the BenQ LED monitors. I'll put a link down below to them. 17 inch, and they seem to work great. Here is the end result. So inside, you can see that it again comes down to the same lip. Went ahead and the wood has been painted. The brackets themselves, this is what it looks like all attached. As you can see, I did reuse the bracket from the main. That was there, it was just the 3 holes, and I drilled the 1 new in the steel. Here's the frame we made with the two 1.5 inch. It now sits flush in there, and it is just attached with the 4 bolts into the back of the monitor. All the wires now have a ridiculous amount of room. You can see the power runs through the back. I did already drill and put the fan up top, and that is blowing out. With that, a halo will be seen around the monitor. So I'm going to take some black foam board and try and close off some of these spots where the light is shining through, because if there is any light up here when the game is going, it'll shine on and you'll see it on the sides. It'll amplify it due to the beam splitter. So it's in at the same, doesn't move. As you can see, the whole thing is very sturdy, solid as a rock. The other side of it is painted. That way, if you do look up, it is all black. I didn't paint this side because it can't be seen. If you have any more questions, the parts list for this, grand total for those L bracket bars are maybe $6, $7 for a 4-foot length. I used 1.5 per on these because of my mistakes, and it's very cheap. The baggies of screws, if you don't have them laying around, they're about $3 a bag, and the rest of it is all tools that you should have at your disposal. So thanks for tuning in. I'm going to plug these in and we're going to run some test games. Then hopefully the videos that I'm capturing off of the phone stands that I put in the pods look a lot brighter and more even, since 2 and 3 were the worst of the CRTs with the blown capacitors. Those are the 2 that I'm replacing right now. I did show pod 4 what it looked like prior, but these are the 2 that are being replaced. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good day.